everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This is Vdiffuser. In our last episode, we did some hoop jumping and we can now go into the evidence room. What's that? Why does it have to be him look for? As you might have surmised, this here is my salute. We're here to investigate the crime scene. Yeehaw! That card you got there on your chest. That's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. Yeah? Well, what are you standing there for? Get along, little doggies. Crime scene's awaiting. Well, the card reader's on again. Sorry, cowboy. I got no mind to tangle with you hombres. You're busy then? Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. You said you had no mind to tangle with us hombres. Okay, then. We can't do anything right now, so we have to go into the evidence room. Now, hang on. Actually, we can get some stuff from him. That smell. Reminds me of Texas. So, you're from Texas? No, I just saw a special on television the other day. It's from my baby. Miss Starr. What's this? A filet steak lunch. I see. I see. I don't see. I wonder what it means. Alright, Bambina. You win. Ask... Finally, it seems like. He's willing to talk. You're in charge of security for the guard room, right? You got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job, and I'm grateful for it. Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us. Oh, poor little doggy. Poor guy. I keep getting his name wrong and calling him Meekly. Meekly! Meekly, come back here! I do love a Wacky Races reference. Told us something. Of course, that means you're definitely not Sergeant Blast. He said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station. Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this. But since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, it might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know. So what were you doing around 5:15 when the murder took place? Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed, Zippy. No, he was riding down the highway on the horse named Zippy. Well, it beats having a horse with no name. There's no need for people here anyhow. These newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place. You mean the security camera system? I don't take the machines much. Kinda like that stewed broccoli they sneak in next to your steak, you know? She said you were a detective until 2 years ago. It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of the crime. That's all gone now, like a drinking hole in a prairie fire. You're still investigating the SL9 incident with her, aren't you? That was my case. It's all solved on the record books. It smells like a bad game of poker. I can't let it go. That's all there is to it. What kind of case was it anyway? I've heard the name so many times, but no one tells us what actually happened. There are some things you're better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, that case is officially dead as of 2 days ago. 2 days ago? The day of our case. That's right, the evidence transferals. Edgeworth was talking about transferals, too. I know what maybe 2 of these machines in here do. 2 of them? There must be a dozen! Like I said, Bambina, me and machines will. I like them about as much as I like stewed cauliflower with my steaks. Stewed cauliflower sounds gross. You'd be better off having it browned with some butter. I know a really good cauliflower cheese recipe, though. It's really good. The easiest ones to understand here are these security cameras. Those are the ones that Meekins mentioned. Yep. If nothing happens, tapes are automatically erased every few hours. And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman are on one of these tapes. I reckon they might be. You're the security guard and you reckon? One more thing. When you go into the evidence, you need an ID card. That's the card reader by the door. The card reader leaves behind a record of every ID card that passes through. God, 777. Hey, I've seen that somewhere before. Yeah, the one down there at 514, that was Goodman's. I can't show you more than that. I haven't heard whether this is related to the case yet. I saw a number on that record just there. I've seen that number before. Could you explain this whole transferal thing is about? We keep only evidence from the solved cases in this room. They're kept here under the presiding detective's supervision for 2 years. So we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see? What happens to the evidence after 2 years? Goes to sleep forever in the underground vault of the county sheriff's department. That's what we call transferal. We do it every February. Transferal is like a funeral for old cases. 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever. Dead. Never to be reopened again. Never to be reinvestigated. And that happened to SL9 2 days ago. See this? This is the victim's ID card. Oh, the one that was on the ground of the parking lot. The number is 5842189. That's the ID record again. The fourth number! It's a perfect match! It was used at 514, right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them cards in the whole world. So when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room. What did Officer Meekins say? Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to display his ID card. And he just attacked him. If he had his ID card then, why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? Alright, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you these ID card record. I got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. Alright, I think we got what we need. Into the evidence room. It's quiet. The investigation must be over there. So this is the evidence room. It's like a graveyard. Graveyards are supposed to have trees and grass. This feels like a morgue. Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Eek! Whoa! Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So is it true what I heard? Do I look like a selfish man? Heck! If anyone asks me I suck and I borrow $50, I can give him that. No problem. Go ahead, investigate. Yeah, it's true. So Chief of Police Gant will loan anybody $50, even me? So that's what you're talking about. Actually, I was put in charge of the investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. But guess what? You got permission from the chief. So now you're boss for a day. Gee, thanks. You want to have this? The stabbing of the detective. Stop doing that. If I see a piece of evidence I know nothing about, I say nothing. You bet it's fine, pal. Alrighty. Judge boss for a day. That's right, it's an honor. After all, the murder took place right here in the police department. But if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? They're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, you got kicked out of the investigation again. I'm adamant, though. I'm gonna take control and put this case to rest. My own evidence locker, pal. You have a locker in here too, Detective Gumshoe? Of course! I'm a detective after all. They gave me a locker that only I can open, pal. Always believe in Edgeworth no matter what happens. So Mr. Edgeworth is with the inquiry committee right now, right? They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess up in court today. I guess this is what you call fate. You like the Fate series? It's really complicated, though. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case. Yeah, SL9 incident. That was the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence lockers. This place is more high-tech than you think. Every locker is fixed so only one detective can open it. Using their ID card? Well, that's a thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Why, I'm on my third card since entering the force already. That's not a thing to be bragging about. Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. You say that. Oh, your fingerprint! Exactly, pal. The lock for each locker is coded with a fingerprint. The only locker we can open is our own. Funny, they look like normal lockers. Those are the latest model. There's a trick to the handles, see? On the other side of the handles is a sensor, and if the wrong person touches it, you get a shock! That's what happened. My hand would be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that even don't know about the fingerprint locks, with Marshall being one of them. Let's see, what can we do here? Present. Detective Goodman note that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised out of everybody. Because of the SL9 connection? That was Mr. Edgeworth's first big case, you know, 2 years ago. Never mind that one time where Mia humiliated him. We'll actually cover that in Trials and Tribulation. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared. Why would evidence from that case turn up now? I guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there's some loose ends left on that case. This is the ID card that came in on the day of the stabbing. Oh yeah, I heard the rumors. So it's good. Whoa! That second number! That's not your ID number, is it? Mr. Edgeworth! The second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth. What? Why would Edgeworth have come to the evidence room? Now that was a bloody violent case. Violent? So it was a murder? It was a serial killing! Oh boy! A serial killing? Maybe I don't want to get involved in this after all. But the killer made a mistake and Mr. Edgeworth built this case around that to nab him. And this was 2 years ago. That put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight and started the rumor mill. About forged evidence? It was supposed to be all cleaned up with the transferal the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is. What do you mean? Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident, see? So that switchblade knife, the victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself. Alrighty. I think that's about all we can find out here. We have a bloody handprint. Someone tried to wipe it off. Time for luminol. Let me get the luminola. There. No, don't do that. Well, what do you know? This is someone's right handprint. What? What's the matter, detective? That's mine! Please! You have to help me when they come to take me away. Promise you'll testify I wouldn't harm a fly. You'll do that for me, won't you, pals? This is an important clue. I'll jot it down on the floor plan. I'm counting on you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police. You're part of the police. God, there is a lot of blood right there. Not a professional, but what's your opinion, detective? Pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was an alien. No. Something really did happen in front of this locker. I'll make a note of it on the floor plans. Hey, if you didn't want my opinion, you should have asked. Let's see, is there anything more, or is it just those two? It's a glove, but only one. It's SL91. There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. You are an absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the case, you know. SL9. It does have a tag. This one's open! That locker is coated with Detective Goodman's fingerprint, and he'll never be able to open it again. Well, it'd be hard to get it open again if we closed it. It's empty. They must have taken it somewhere. That's a lot of fragments. There you go. Making me out to be some kind of hooligan. You want to try putting it back together? Heck, good luck, pal. That's no job for amateurs. I spent a good 3 hours on that before I had to give up. That's why I always carry around a tube of glue. Alrighty. One, two, three, four, five. Ta-da! There. Now. There's that. Yeah, it's only part of the way done. Huh? Well, I think we did it, but there's some pieces still missing. Yeah, I got that far too in 2 minutes myself. The problem's finishing it. Were some pieces stolen? I bet they were missing to begin with. Still, it doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar. I almost wonder if we gotta turn it the other way around to have it. I kind of understand how it got broken. Alrighty. Is there any more? Oh? Well, what do you know? Why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for a murderer to touch this spot if he fled out the door. It's just me, that might be something significant. Hey, that's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, pal. What, this? It's called luminol testing fluid. Where'd you get your hands on that? I'd like to get some too. I'll just borrow $50 from the chief. Where do you get this, Emma? I always buy it by mail order. I better jot this down on the floor plans. Hey, pal, look at the time. Was there something you need to be going to? It's that Mr. Edgeworth's inquiry committee should be letting out soon. I give him my report for the day. It might help, you know. Uh-oh. Ooh, I know who that is! Ooh, we're not going to be meeting them until the third game. Report? You mean the note written on the back of this flyer? The one that says nothing but no problems? Hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he could use a report like this. I believe in him. Who needs enemies when you got friends like Detective Gumshoe? I'm off, pal. Later. I should probably see what Edgeworth has to say, too. I believe that is all we can really do. There he is. Now, what are you doing here? Ah, guests. My apologies. It's you. Have we met somewhere? Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave. So long. Is Edgeworth here? Standing by a window with his teacup in his hand. Right. Is the hotel bring him tea service? Hey, if it's service that good, who am I to argue? You're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry? I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. He brought me the latest information, it seems. Apparently a new French restaurant is opening near here. And you should be afraid. Very afraid. I think he was trying to console me somehow. The real info is on the other side, Edgeworth. I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him. I gotta go right back. Later. Okay, we're back. So how'd it go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation. Concealing evidence? Yes, apparently there are some who believe I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky, this time. Again. I've heard them say that so many times, ever since that case 2 years ago. Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still the presiding and prosecuting attorney, however. Something happened? They gave control of the investigation over to the police department. Yes, any further investigation on this case will be directed by Gant. Oh boy, I can do nothing but wait for his results. Why, I ask you? Why? All along I've done only what I believe is right. I've nothing to be ashamed of. But still, I've never seen him this out of sorts. Let's see, what can we do? Oh, right! I better check this now. As I was saying, What's this? A record of ID card usage? Edgeworth, you went in the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true. Why, Mr. Edgeworth? Don't look at me like that. I was asked to go. By Chief Gant, no less. The Chief of Police? He wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. AI-16. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. But it was solved, right? It would have to be if the evidence was already filed. The chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. What kind of case was it? I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. AI-16, huh? Stubborn as always. I told you this has nothing to do with the case. Alright, we have an evidence tag. AI-16. What's that gotta do with anything? Nothing, apparently. At least that's what Edgeworth said. Huh, that makes it seem all the more suspicious. Who knows? This might turn out to be the clue that breaks the case. Wouldn't that be nice? I think this actually is, but I don't remember. Alright, the switchblade. I know you. You've probably got a hold of some information already, right? It all has to do with the case you were on, SL9. And some dark suspicion you were wrapped up in. You're the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later. You must be talking about his father's murder in that elevator. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. Allegations of forgery. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the deputy chief of police at the time, Damon Gant. That wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago too, then. He was a top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous. I get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth. What I want to know is, why was a deputy chief of police on the investigation? In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer, and if I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict, and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't? Of course not! I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I will do anything in my power to ruin a trial. However, I do have a code, and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister? What? If you were still studying forensic science? Yes, of course. Just today, Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid, Well then, you might have use for this. Aluminum powder for taking fingerprints. It's been chemically treated for better adhesion. For me? Are you sure? We're the enemy, you know. I've no say in today's investigation. Do as you will. Edgeworth, I'm really... No need to thank me. Take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. Thanks! Giving some of these to Gumshoe as well. Let's get going! One last investigation! I do seem to remember some suspicious handprints somewhere. Just for shits and giggles. I said, just for shits and giggles. Some blood dripped down there. Judging by the amount, I guess it's from a nosebleed. Nosebleed, huh? Maybe in his wrath, Mr. Edgeworth slapped someone for their incompetence. Why does Detective Gumshoe's face come to mind? Yeah, it would be that. We know where to go now. Back to the police department. Marshall's actually not here. Time for a finger. Hey, believe it or not, in the DS, you actually had to use the mic. We're out of luck. They must have worn gloves. We've been wasting our time here. That's sometimes how it goes with it. There's another one. Bingo! A print's so clear it's dazzling. Time to match it up. Alright, we gotta make it count. Not Gant. It's Gumshoe. Well, this is his locker, so of course it would be. There was one other handprint. We know what to do. No prints. Alrighty, let's see. There we go. Huh. There. Not yours. It's Marshall's. Hey, these fingerprints, they're Jake Marshall's. Officer Marshall? That's gotta be coincidence. He's not involved in the crime. Emma, this is decidedly different from Gumshoe's footprints. The luminol reaction, the blood and the fingerprints are in the same place. Oh. So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a white bloodstain. But
But why would Officer Marshall?
It looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. I guess this is what you call decisive evidence.
I don't believe it.
To be continued. And with that, it's time for us to cut it here. In our next episode, it's time to see what Marshall's hiding from us. Later.